Hey, what's going on? Check. Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Dom from Lensprotogo and Lens Rentals, and welcome back to the channel. In this week's video, we're talking about microphones, and the topic specifically is microphone pickup patterns. Now, that was just a dumb gag. I'm using a lav mic. In this video, I'm going to be going over which microphones feature which pickup patterns, and ultimately, which pickup pattern is the best for your environment. Okay, so starting out with Omni Directional Mic. Omni mics aim to record in all directions evenly. These mics are great for capturing ambient sounds or in a situation where the camera is in the middle of all the action and you just want to take it all in. However, the audio that you get from Omni mics like this one can sometimes be unwanted if you're trying to isolate a specific source of audio. With that being said though, this pickup pattern does have one very specific application. Lavalier mics. This pickup pattern works perfectly for lav mics because they pick up voices very well, but the sensitivity falls off pretty drastically after about 2 feet or so. So you get that isolation that you want. Also, a bonus for omnidirectional mics is they're very forgiving. I can't tell you the amount of times that I've gotten perfectly fine audio from a terribly placed lav. Most microphones, however, are at least a little bit directional, and these are part of the cardioid family of pickup patterns. There's a few different types of cardioid pickup patterns that we'll get into, but a regular cardioid pattern will generally pick up what's in front of it more than behind it. But like I said, this is still pretty general, and using just a regular cardioid mic, you still might get unwanted noises from the side or the rear of the microphone. This is another great and versatile pickup pattern that can also be really forgiving. These will pick up sounds pretty well as long as they're pointed in that general direction, and that's why a regular cardioid pickup pattern works great for on-camera shotgun mics. And they're also just a much better alternative to your camera's internal mics. Now, cardioid pickup patterns get more and more directional, and as you move up the ladder, you get hypercardioids and supercardioids. These mics aim to record a tiny little cone of sound and block out everything else. Hypercardioids, for example, are very directional mics, but they'll still pick up some frequencies outside of its pickup area. And sometimes you actually want this because having too directional of a mic can be difficult to use in uncontrolled environments. A big application for hypercardioid mics, for example, is for recording instruments, because sometimes there are subtle sounds caught in the reverberations coming from the instrument that might get lost on a mic that's too directional. Another great use for hypercardioids is an on-camera documentary mic, where it'll still get really great subject audio, except the shot doesn't have to be necessarily locked off. It can still be handheld or maybe shoulder rigged. Moving on to supercardioids. Supercardioids are super directional, and they isolate what they're pointing at very drastically. Supercardioids still pick up rear and side audio, but very, very minimally. And these types of mics are the best for filmmaking, and there are a few reasons why. Starting with the most obvious reason, supercardioid mics are the best way to capture and isolate voices. And when you go to make a film, you'll understand just how important that is. Next, I say that these are ideal for filmmaking because the margin of error for using a supercardioid mic is really, really slim. And a film set is all about control. So the best environment for these microphones is a nice locked off film set or a set that has a dedicated sound recordist and mixer. And for any of you watching that don't know this, for basically any speaking shot in any TV or movie that you've ever seen, one of these mics is probably dangling just outside the frame somewhere. And the reason they do this is because isolating that voice is super necessary when the film is sound mixed in post. There are even more extremely directional mics, and these have a special pickup pattern called low bar. I'm not going to get into super advanced audio stuff in this video, so I'm giving you permission to think about this mic as truly unidirectional, even though that's technically impossible. So even though that these are at the peak of sound isolation, I would still recommend supercardioids as the best type for filmmaking. Because although the margin of error for supercardioids is really slim, the margin of error for a low bar microphone is practically non-existent. So these microphones are the best for scenarios where you have the utmost control over the set, like maybe a super locked down interview shot or just other niche audio purposes. The last type of pickup pattern I'm going to talk about is a bidirectional or a figure eight. These don't have a huge presence in film or video production, but I figured that they were worth mentioning. As the name suggests, these microphones pick up in two directions evenly. These are great for podcasts or web shows or anything where two people are sharing one mic, as if that happens anymore. So that's pretty much going to do it for this week's video explaining microphone pickup patterns. So if you have any questions about the microphones you saw in this video, or think that I should have mentioned something in this video that I didn't, drop a comment in the comment section and we'll start a discussion about microphones and pickup patterns. Also, if you liked this video, hit that thumbs up button down below, and if you're not already, subscribe to the channel so you can stay tuned in for more of our weekly content. And we'll see you in the next one.